more Americans living at the poverty level means that more people on unemployment, more jobless claims means more debt on credit cards. So in that case, it's going to be good for the feds down the road to be able to ease up on interest rates because so much of middle America is just living on fumes. The job report, feds wanted to get unemployment up, not down.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It is Friday, November 10th. And yes, we do work on Fridays. Sometimes some of the world does, but it seems like less and less of the world's working on Monday through Friday as well. And speaking of that, we got some jobless claim numbers. David Wright is with us now. You find David at wrightfinancialgroup.com. His book is Bonfires of the Sanities. No, not Vanities, not the Tom Wolfe book. It's Bonfires of the Sanities.com. David, it's great to have you on again. So, hey, what about the jobless report? We should be happy?
Well, I guess so, for good and bad reasons. The jobless report came out at about 217,000 actual. They had forecast 215,000. It's significant because more Americans living at the poverty level means that more people on unemployment, more jobless claims means more debt on credit cards. So in that case, it's going to be good for the feds down the road to be able to ease up on interest rates because so much of middle America is just living on fumes. The job report, feds wanted to get unemployment up, not down. It's been in the 3% range, 3.2, 3.3, 3.8, heading now closer to 4%. So once we get that closer to 5%, then I think the feds may seriously start considering, pivoting. But that's going to be a while yet. I think there needs to be more negative reports before that happens.
Okay, so it's not going as quick as they want it to go. In other words, they're unhappy. Too many people are working, right?
There's just too much demand for skilled positions that are not being filled right now. There's just more people that are, there's too many jobs available still, not enough people to fill them. There's still a fairly robust economy out there. We've got a GDP that's still in the 3 to 4% range because basically inventories and supplies have been refilled. But the bottom line here is we know long term that in inflation, as long as it's hanging around there at the 3.7 to 4% range, the feds aren't going to budge. I don't really think, Kerry, they're going to do much in December besides just kind of pause and check the data. I know Jerome Powell, if he were a poker player, it'd be hard to read, what he's doing, but his talk is tough. He's certainly coming through like a hawk, but is that really going to happen? They got to really, do anything with the short rate? I don't know. My guess would be now that they're probably not.
So he just gave a little talk with the IMF, and he's talking real, hawkish, as they say, dovish and hawkish.
Yeah.
Like maybe certain leaders of terrorist organizations we've seen. On the one hand, they're saying all nice things in English, but on the other hand, in their own language, they're saying death to everybody, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really a mixed up world that we're living in right now, and God only knows where it's going to head. We see, unemployment in our country still pretty low, but yet the deficits in our country keep rising. Our GDP, I checked out the other day, actually our GDP at about 26 trillion, but our debt at 33 trillion. We've got debt to GDP ratio now that's, about 120%, 120%, which is as high as it's been since World War II. So till Congress figures things out, I heard a good one. If pro is the opposite of con, then progress must be the opposite of Congress. And they just can't get a damn thing done. They can't figure anything out. So until that all gets rehauled, I think that the modern monetary theory just kick the can down the road further, may end up being the way.
Well, I always say the basis of any fiat monetary system is confidence. Without confidence, you can't have a fiat system. And you know what the root of confidence is? Con.
No.
Right? Yeah. So the stock market, you're basically foreseeing that it's going to be range bound, huh?
It's going to be range bound. I think that we're looking at the S&P 500 probably hanging in the 4,500 to 3,800 ballpark for the rest of the year, probably ending the year around 4,300 points. But next year, I do see that things are going to be more pressure for the feds to do some pivoting, because a lot of these corporations are going to have to renegotiate their leases, et cetera. That's going to hurt earnings. I think the banks can't really handle much more with the higher interest rates for longer scenario. Already bank stresses are there. How much more? Well, I mean, the question I always want to ask somebody, I can't get an answer, is how much debt is too much debt? We're the largest economy in the world, and we also have the most debt of anybody in the world. So when does that correlation get out of whack? When does too much debt, and that collapses the whole system? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, if you're the Federal Reserve, I don't think they've ever seen too much debt. They've been manufacturing more and more debt since 1913. That's kind of been their mandate, right? I think if
Data prices and low unemployment.
If you're a regional bank, you're in a world of pain right now, right? You're in a world of hurt.
Well, you got all these loans held on the book, real estate, long-term loans, 3%, and then you got to pay out these short-term depositors, 5 and 6%. The margins don't really work too well, so they're under a lot of stress. I mean, I walked into my local bank here, that shall remain nameless, and they're just like gutting the inside facilities. These banks are becoming like bomb shelters. You walk in and it's like you feel like you're in a pawn shop. They're stripping them down. I don't know whether they're just trying to save money or what, but it's pretty sad around here in the Midwest.
Hey, they're all under pressure, and there's really nothing that can save them short of going back to quantitative easing and really consolidation. Jamie Dimon said, we don't want any more of them. They took over, I don't remember who they took over, Silicon Valley Bank. Did they take over?
Right.
Or Republic? He said, we don't want any more. But that when these banks start falling, basically it's going to be like, do you remember during the great financial crisis when Merrill Lynch fell and then they called up Bank of America, Ken Lewis, and that Mr. Lewis, congratulations, you're now the proud owner of Merrill Lynch. He said, I don't want Merrill Lynch. I don't want him. And they said, you're not hearing us. Congratulations, you're now the proud owner. And then 3 weeks later, he was gone. He was no longer. As it turned out, it worked out. It was a great deal for them, but they were all insolvent then. Do you think all banks are insolvent?
I think they are already heading there. I mean, when you look at the feds can afford to not raise rates right now because they're tightening. They're still doing quantitative tightening. So they're they're just letting the bonds roll off the system that they purchased during COVID. So that the monetary supply is shrinking, while at the same time, people's savings accounts are drying up. And so the monetary supply is shrinking, more debt, more foreclosures. And I think that's just all gonna, I hate to be a doom and gloom guy, but it's hard to see a very glamorous, elegant way out of this problem moving forward, this soft landing that they all talk about. There's going to be a lot of people that are left behind, that are devastated by this.
All right. Well, hey, enough good news. So tell us about Bonfires of the Sanities.
Well, first I need to correct you. It's Bonfire.
Bonfire of the Sanities.
Singular. Bonfire of the Sanities.
Okay.
It's a book, a labor of love of about 4 years of mine. It's written in a very casual manner. Abraham Maslow, the famous psychologist, wrote that there were three things that basic needs for humans were: food and shelter, for safety, and self-actualization. And I played the lead role in a musical in high school. Tevye, Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, you're Tevye.
Tevye.
You were a rich man.
If I were a rich man. And if you look it up, if I were a rich man.
Great.
During that monologue, he's fantasizing, Carrie, about having, if he were the wealthiest man in town, he'd fill his yard with ducks and chicks and geese and, maids and servants running around. He'd have one staircase going up, one coming down, and one extra one just for show. But then as the song goes on and he really realizes what money's important to him for is to go to the synagogue and pray, to be a more learned man, to be a person that helps society, right? So most Americans, it's not about having tons of money in the bank. It's about having enough income from the money to be able to do those things that you want to do. Travel to Thailand, go places, live your life and be able to have food on the table, be able to have safety for your future, and that you're not going to run out of money. So this book, Bonfire of the Sanities, takes us through chapter by chapter, kind of where my start was, where the markets got to where they are today, and some common sense tips about how we can help you fix your problems and get you reshifted into a more Maslow self-fulfilling prophecy for your retirement. Comfort, safety of income.
Oh, it makes complete sense. And I like the little play on words. And you should have dedicated the book to Zero Mostel, right?
I love Zero Mostel. Yeah. He's my favorite Tevye.
He was the best. For sure.
Guy.
We're dating ourselves a bit, but I think
we are.
I think I saw it with him, if I remember correctly.
Zero Mostel did the Broadway version. You probably saw him in New York do it.
The movie. He was in the movie.
The movie was
I don't know if I ever saw the play, but I definitely saw the movie.
Yeah, Topol played the movie version of it. And, he absolutely nailed the role.
Yeah,
great.
Amazing.
And you know what? The musical Fiddler on the Roof, so timely for what we're going through now in the Middle East. And, the persecution that's
so true.
out there.
So true. And, it's just pretty amazing what's happening. Hey.
Absolutely.
So, place to find you, WrightFinancialGroup.com, right?
Yes. Wright Financial with a W, WrightFinancialGroup.com. And if you log in there, you'll see a lot of things that we do for our clients, ways that we help you get focused, some good complimentary giveaway stuff, some things that you can learn about, how we select funds, how we select strategies for pre and post retirees, and how to get a copy of this book.
Okay.
BonfireSanities.com.
All right. Well, we love it. And the links are in the show notes to this interview on FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. Hey, got a question, comment for David, myself? Shoot us an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. Hey, David, best of luck, and we'll talk to you again soon.
If I were a rich man.
You haven't lost it yet. All right. I see a remake. In your future. A rebirth.
There you go.
All right. Great to talk to you.
Thanks, Kerry.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.